Hey everyone, so after watching my first video before I filmed the rest, all of my homebrew experience, there were a couple things I wanted to clarify. One was, this may seem incredibly obvious to some people, but in case it's not, the reason why it's so difficult for women to do this whole beer thing while they're family planning is because you can't drink when you're pregnant. And that leads me to also say that one of the best and worst things about becoming a beer judge and learning about beer in general is that you have to drink a lot of it. And you have to drink a lot, not only when you're preparing to do the tasting exam, because obviously you want to recognize what you're tasting, but yes, hi honey, but also when you are doing the initial exam that I already took, the entry exam, because in order to really understand different beer styles, there's no better way to do that until you actually taste them. And I've tasted, oh god, I've spent way too much money on beer lately. So who's ready to try some home-brewed beer? My first ever beer was a mistake. Well, no, not altogether, but in some ways. So it was a Belgian Golden Strong, and because I love strong Belgian beers. I love dark, strong Belgian ales in particular, and I have a crazy work schedule. I also work in Manhattan, and I live in New Jersey, and I'm barely in one place or the other. So my husband, who is just sweetheart, went to the beer shop for me, or the brew shop, and he was going to pick up a kit. Most people start brewing with beer kits, which are kind of like prepackaged recipes or prepackaged ingredients, and the biggest thing about kits are, whether you're doing all grain or if you're working with a malt extract. And oh my gosh, I mean, if you don't know about beer, I don't know how to explain that very quickly, but basically, like, if you're working with a malt extract, there's going to be a lot fewer steps because you're not working with the actual grain. You're working with the grain after it's already gone through several processes. So I really wanted to do all grain at first, but I was like, Bethany, you are a beginner, and I have a little trouble slowing down when it comes to all things in life. So I said, hey, do the malt extract. So I had my husband Rob look at all of the malt extracts for me, and he kind of read them off on the phone. He was like, do you want this? Do you want that? I personally am not a huge lager fan. Okay, I'm not a lager fan at all. Although I can, respect it. And when you're a beer judge, you have to respect all styles. You cannot judge subjectively. But, what, baby? Just being silly. But, yeah, hi. Anyway, where was I? So I didn't want a lager, I wanted an ale, and he read them all off to me, and there was one in particular that I thought sounded really good. It was a Golden Strong, and so I was like, yeah, let's make that. So that's what I made. It's not recommended for beginners because the more power, the more punch your beer packs, and a Golden Strong ale packs a lot of punch, so there's a lot of stuff in there in terms of ingredients and whatnot. The more difficult it's going to be to get it right, and so I had a bit of a difficult time, but it was a good experience. So let me show you the end product first, actually. Can I turn? I don't know how to use this camera so that I can actually turn it towards the fridge. So I'm going to walk this way and get my beer out. So this is one of my bottled beers after it was made. It's in a bottle of one of my favorite beers of all time, which is Beer Republic Red Rocket Ale. It's an amber ale, and you should really try it, especially if you're kind of new to beer, because it's fascinating, and that's the quality I like most about beer. I love beer that's fascinating. Anyway, so this is, I saved the bottles of beers that I drink a lot of beer, so I could save the bottles, and then bought bottle caps and a bottle capper and capped my beer in here, and there's a huge story to go along with even that process. But I'm going to open this up right now and show you guys what my finished product looked like before I give you the whole story. And the reason I'm going to do that is because there's a really good sort of moral, not moral, but like, it's just, the story ends on a good note, and that to me was really impressive. I was not expecting it to do that. Even after I'd read a bunch of similar stories where people were like, oh, I made this mistake and that mistake, and it actually turned out really good, and I didn't think that was going to happen for me, and I can be an overly optimistic person in some areas, but this one I wasn't. So I just want to show you that, before I even begin, so you can hear all the negative stuff and realize that after that there was still a light at the end of the tunnel. Okay, so I gotta do it with both hands, so bear with me. Put this down. Okay, I have uncapped the bottle. Please excuse all the sippy cups and other baby material around. You always want to pour into a clean glass. There's lots of reasons why. I won't get into it because this is not really an instructional video. But there are some big fat reasons why you want to do that. So I'm pouring my beer. I probably should actually tilt this glass, but it's hard to the phone in my hand. You are going to see that, wow, there's a lot of carbonation in here. And there's a big fat story behind that. That could have ended up with bottles exploding all over the place. But, so this is my end product, holding it up in front of natural light. People might disagree with me. I don't know. If you do, please comment, because I would love to know what you think. But I think it's lovely for a first go. That head is not what I would have expected, and the reason why you'll hear in a little bit. The color, the clarity for Golden Strong, I think it's actually really, really good. And with all of the craziness I went through, I did not expect it to look like this, and it did not look like this a few weeks ago. And when I say a few weeks, I actually mean less than 2. It looked like, I describe it as an apple cider milkshake and then some. So here I am drinking my beer. It's really good, and I'm really surprised. So right now, I mean, I think it does represent the Golden Strong style. I mean, there's this bready smell, but there's also clovey phenols, and I mean, it's fruity, and there's that nice alcohol warming. It's really got everything that you want in a Belgian Strong. There are no off flavors, and it's good. You know, when I first started drinking this, I knew it was a green beer, as they say, meaning it's not completely developed. Hi, Evangeline, say hi. Say hi. It tasted like it needed some maturing to do. It tastes like sherry. It had sort of an oxidized taste, and there were some reasons why I thought that it was going to last into the finished product, but after I bottle conditioned this, it really didn't. The end product is surprisingly good. But let me tell you why that's shocking to me. And I want to, make note that because that's shocking to me, I really need to be more careful with my next batch. I'm not just gonna be like, oh, well, this turned out drinkable and fine, so I'm just, I'll just make it any which way, because I do think it could turn out better. Is it a freaking prize-winning beer? No. But is it drinkable? Yes. And is it way more drinkable than I thought it would be? Yes. Is it actually good? Yeah. And if I had not become a beer enthusiast, before I tried so many different beers and everything, if I tried this, I'd be like, what? That's so amazing! And I think that's good. That's a good sign, right, Evangeline? It's good. It's good.